Departed souls on the ocean's flow. Heave ho, onwards we row, forever off to new shores we go. Heave ho, onwards we row, we sail so long and...
More people have climbed Everest than they have rowed the Atlantic, and some people have rowed the Atlantic twice. And my guest is Hugo Mitchel-Heggs, who has just completed his second rowing of the Atlantic. Hugo, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, you were Team Audacious,
Yeah.
so you're more familiar with being under the water than on top of the water.
Absolutely. HMS Audacious was a concept set up by Royal Navy submariners. So in 2019, we had a team of Royal Navy submariners, all four of us, and we built this campaign that wanted to kind of showcase submariners in a different environment. Yeah, we're not normally used to being under the water for hundreds of days at a time, so being on top of the waves is definitely a different avenue to go down.
But what you didn't mention is in that 2019 team, you were rowing.
I was rowing in 2019 with another one of my team from this year, so two of us did it in 2019 with two other submariners, and after completing it, and we came in 37 days in January 2020, and I think there was something really exciting about the whole thing, an itch that was still there to be scratched, that inspired us to keep it all going
And do it again.
and do it again. Yeah, and here we are now.
And you said to me yesterday that part of the reason for doing it again was not just for that itch, not just for that satisfaction, but to keep building on the charity. Were you one of the founders of the charity?
I was so it's kind of an interesting one. We started off in 2019 supporting a military community charity, so it's not just serving personnel, it's veterans, it's all the families, that kind of concept of we take care of people from the day they join to the day they leave this world. And because we just gained so much momentum, we've raised over £100,000 for mental health projects. It got to the point where our charity said, well, do you want to get your own fund set up? And then from that, another charity was set up called the Submarine Family, which focused specifically on submariners and their families, serving and veterans again. So it's just, I mean, whilst the rowing is amazing and the adventure's great, actually the growth in the charity space is just phenomenal, and that's what's motivated us to keep going, you know.
And it is a great charity because you tend to think of soldiers with PTSD and emotional problems, but nobody ever really thinks of submariners' emotional and mental problems.
No, and it's not just the submariner. You know, it's just the normal things that everyone goes through. You know, we're really improving in this space of learning to not suffer in silence, so that everyone has mental health. And it's okay to have a bad day, and it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to grow and learn and provide support mechanisms. And it's not just the submariners who suffer. You know, obviously we go out for these hundreds of day deployments in extreme environments, but that's not what we struggle with. It's the separation from our families, missing birthdays, missing funerals, missing weddings. You know, and then likewise our families on the other end of that don't hear from us at all. They have no idea how we're doing, and that takes a huge toll on them psychologically, emotionally, and that's why we need to provide really good wraparound care to make sure that they're okay. And you know, it's not just about submariners. I think by showing that this all matters, actually it has a much wider reach to everyone around the community, whether it's military or civilians. It's quite cool.
And I guess that lack of communication is not specific, but worse when you're a submariner, because as a skimmer or in the army, you can at least be contacted.
Absolutely, yeah.
But underneath, no.
Absolutely, no contact underneath. We receive a very small familygram. It's like a telegram once a week.
The familygram, yeah.
The familygram that we get once a week, which is a very quick update. So the submariner gets a brief insight into what's going on at home, but again, that's all been. They can't share bad news with us. So we, you
have to wait till you're back.
You wait till you're back, and you're anticipating things. It's kind of that couple of days before getting back. You get really, whilst you want to be, you're excited about seeing family, you're also incredibly nervous that when the chaplain comes on the submarine, he's not called your name out to come and have a one-to-one chat, and And I think that's really, that's what's quite unique and tough about our world. Yeah.
You do get a babygram, don't you?
We get a babygram. So if you've had a child, they send a one-off message saying, "Congratulations, Lieutenant Sprog has had a sprog and
Sprog.
weighing in at this, and mother and baby are fine." And someone sends some flowers to the mum, and it's all quite. But yeah, we do have babygrams. Well remembered.
Now this year, you knew what to expect when you rode the Atlantic more.
Yeah.
Which do you find harder? You often hear that people say, well, the physical bit I've got that under control. But actually, when you're on board and you can't do things, you can't relax, you're on for 2 hours, off for 2 hours. Does that take a huge mental toll on you when you're actually on at sea?
It was definitely harder second time round. I think first time round, my crossing was, it was new. It was all all unknown. We took it day by day. It was probably a bit more fun in the way that was all. We saw a lot more wildlife and things were just a bit different. And this time around, we wanted to race really hard, so we were in this insanely tough routine, exhausted physically.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the mental and emotional side of, being fatigued and knackered, and being in a race. We were racing teams from all over the world, and we really invested in this race. And I actually very uniquely, and this is another first, you talk about more people have climbed Everest, but no one's ever raced the Atlantic against their own brother before.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
It was, Rufus, my younger brother, rode when I rode the Atlantic in 2019, he saw, he was one of my support team, one of my family was, and he was so inspired by that crossing that he just thought, he's 8 years younger than me, and he just thought, I have to do this. I want to do this. And he came to me in early 2020 and said, I'm going to do it, by the way. And shame on me, I was quite cynical and thought, okay, I know how hard it is, not just the row, but the 2.5 years of
That's a lot of
sponsors, media, working with charities, working with companies, public speaking, and it's a huge amount of work that goes into getting these campaigns off the ground. And to his credit, he got this team together. They got an unofficial record beating. He got 3 Norwegians in his team. They got the Norwegian record.
Oh,
and they
cool.
arrived the same day as me, and it was just so cool that he got to do it the same year as I did.
And that you were racing against him.
Not only racing against each other, we had this cat and mouse race where, my team raced hard and we pulled ahead really early, and we had some technical issues which slowed us down, and suddenly they were my brother's team. They said, we're doing this to enjoy ourselves, not to race. And suddenly they overtook us, and they spent a week ahead of us, and they were very much at that stage racing.
Yeah, I guess so.
And it was really exciting. It was kind of between Christmas and New Year, and it kind of gave my team a bit of not a kick up the arse, because we were it was something that we really wanted to. We were always trying to push hard, but it became more than just the race against all the other rowers. It was about Hugo's brother rivalry.
Got to beat him.
And it was, we talk about rivalry. The rivalry is eclipsed by how proud I am of their team, and my little brother and his team are all best friends, of ours as well. So we were just, if they'd beaten us in, it would have been irrelevant. We'd have been so happy. But just once in a lifetime that not only did we both do it the same year, we arrived on the same day.
That is so cool.
Which is unreal.
And you were there to meet him?
I was there to meet him, yeah. So I got in at 1 o'clock in the morning, pitch black, really, really cool seeing English Harbour.
Could you organise that a bit better next time, so that it's more during the daytime?
Well, you know what, we had a daytime arrival in 2019, and it was, so that box was ticked. We really wanted to get in a bit earlier, but the conditions were so slow the last few days that we were just grateful to get in. But our arrival was, actually at night time, really quite special. Seeing all the lights, seeing all the yachts, seeing the kind of quietness of Antigua, and then suddenly really come to life in English Harbour.
Yeah.
Because it is, when you approached it was all pitch black. There was nothing. There was no one on the water, and then suddenly you're in this absolute fanfare of media and yachts and all that kind of stuff. But no, I managed to get a quick nap bit of food in me, have a shower, and then come back down into English Harbour later in the day to see Rufus and his team come in and relive all the emotions and see them come in was just a very special day for family memories. Yeah,
That's wonderful. You must be pretty tired, actually.
I'm exhausted. Yeah, I'm absolutely destroyed. Now I got 8 hours sleep last night, which is the longest I slept on that crossing was an hour and a half at once maximum. If I was getting 4 hours sleep in kind of chunks a day, I was doing well. I wasn't hallucinating. So to get a good sleep, a good shower and a good sleep is really good for the healing process. Yeah.
Now, the first person you saw when you were in sight of Antigua, the first person you spoke to was a submariner, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So Richard Fear, it seems to be living a good life out here in Antigua. He seems to have adopted the native way, and so Richard Fear was an ex submariner. Although we say you're once a submariner, always a submariner. But he, we spoke to him and we were introduced to him in 2019, and he works on the Antigua and Barbuda search and rescue boat, ABSAR. He welcomed us in 2019, and he was the first boat, the first face, the first voice we heard on the radio coming into Antigua. So it was good to see, a familiar voice, a familiar face. Even though it was pitch black, we could see him. That was really special when we had that kind of quiet arrival along the coastline, and also just to make sure that we didn't crash into any rocks.
Yeah, that's quite important, actually.
Quite important, yeah. So,
and of course, if you overshoot the harbour, you can't turn round.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So absolutely critical to have him there. But no, we were so grateful for that, and I saw him the next day at the. We were invited as guests to the Antigua Tot Club.
The Royal Naval Tot Club of Antigua and Barbuda.
Oh, sorry, my apologies.
Do you get it right?
I will, yeah. which is brilliant to see that little piece of Royal Navy heritage living on here in Antigua. Nelson's Dockyard. Yeah. So much history connected to reading out of the book of the day, and actually, what was even more special was hearing that Captain Scott, the polar explorer, reached the pole on the 17th of January, I can't remember what year, which was the same day that HMS Audacious reached Antigua.
So he shares the day with you?
We share the day, a famous day in Royal Naval history, shared with some historic graves. But no, the Tot Club was incredibly welcoming, and really, really special to be able to do that on the day of arrival as well.
I'm glad you've had such a special arrival, and now it's back to normal. How long did that take you last time?
Last time was actually quite a struggle for me emotionally. I had, I think what I learnt was I relaxed too much when I came in. I spent a lot of time lying down and enjoying
Doesn't that sound fair enough?
It does sound fair enough, but actually when you think about it, when you've been rowing for a month, your body's just constantly flooded with endorphins. You've got these wonderful feel-good hormones going through your body, and suddenly you get in and you deprive them of that, and you mask them with a few pina coladas. And actually mentally I struggled a little bit when I came back, and it was actually my wife who said, get off your backside and go for a run, and it was a couple of weeks after I'd been back, and I went for a run. It was pathetic. I could barely, you could hardly call it running because my body had deteriorated so much.
I guess your muscles must have atrophied a bit.
Atrophy, and your muscles the muscles that are not used in your body just become food for the rest of your body. So my glutes, my bottom, is just Play-Doh at the moment. It's like mashed potato. It's just non-existent.
I don't think that's an image I want.
No,
Thank you.
No, it's absolute tatters. My calves, not that I ever had any in the first place, are now stick thin, and your body just kind of disappears a little bit. But getting out and doing some exercise, just changed everything. I immediately noticed my mood improve. I slept better. And within a couple of weeks, I was me again, and I think that's something that my experience from last time was very much of don't sit still, don't just go, I'm done now. So I spent all of yesterday walking around, which was a bit of a struggle, but I feel better for it. I slept well, I ate well, I'm definitely going to get back to the UK. do some yoga, do some stretching, do some small kind of runs, and just rebuild, and become me again. Yeah.
Well, for 35 days you've been pumping adrenaline, and for 2.5 years it's been pretty high dose of that, hasn't it? So it must be really tough.
Absolutely, no, completely.
So what's next for you, Hugo?
Well, I'm having a baby
Yes, so I understand.
I'm having a baby in March, so I'm heading back to the UK today, actually. Because my wife couldn't fly out because it was too far along in our pregnancy, which was gutting. You know, she was such a big part of my arrival last time. But I'm going to head back to the UK, get the house ready for a baby, and learn how to be a father. It's my first child, so learn how to be a father.
Congratulations!
And you know, luckily I've had a huge amount of experience of coping with sleep deprivation. So
it's all good training.
It's all good training, and I'm ready to go. So that is my next that's my next adventure.
And when you're back at sea?
I'm not now. I'm now land-based. I'm running a small team to actually help submariners have better psychological and physical health.
Brilliant.
So a lot of the things that I've learned from this Atlantic campaign has now translated to my career. The race organisers joke. They don't joke. There's a statement that 50% of people who do this thing, this Atlantic challenge, will change their lives.
Yeah.
They will change their careers, their lifestyles. Something will change because they've gone into their minds have gone to a different place, and that's very poignant for me. I'm very much a new person, doing the things I want to do because life's too short otherwise.
And you don't want to be at sea when you've got a baby. You don't want to get that baby gram. You need to be home. So timing's worked out quite well for you.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm very happy that my career allows me to be at home and be present and see my daughter's first steps and first years and all that kind of stuff.
Exciting stuff.
I'm so excited.
And will you or a team be back in 2019?
2023. Yeah. Yes. So this is what's brilliant about this campaign is that it's just snowballed into this huge campaign. It's not just about the rowing. Our charity's growing. We're working with more schools. We're working with more companies. Everything has grown in so many ways. And our aim is to have a team rowing across the Atlantic every single year.
Fantastic.
For many years to come. So we have got a Royal Navy, we've got another men's team crossing, a 5-man team. We've done 2 fours, we've got a 5-man team.
Is that submariners?
All submariners.
All submariners.
This year, 2023, or in December, leaving the Canaries in December 23 to arrive January 24. And they've got a new boat. It's made of recycled materials.
Oh, wow.
So we're very much also taking our campaign into a eco-friendly. The next chapter is very much about our responsibility to the oceans, to the planet. And then in 2024, we have an all-women's team of submariners.
Of course, you've got submariner women now.
We have submariner women. Yeah, we've had them for about 10 years. They've served with us, hand in, as shipmates. So we've got some inspiring women who are the first generation of Royal Navy submariners who are going to row across the Atlantic in 2024, and I'm going to carry on supporting them as much as I can, and I'm hoping that I can fly out in January 25 with my daughter and my wife, see some inspiring women for my daughter to she'll be nearly 2 by then. So probably won't remember a thing, but it's all part of what I want her to see,
And that's an amazing future ahead for you and Audacious, Hugo.
Absolutely, I'm so excited to see the potential and the legacy that we've left, and it's inspiring people, it's exciting people, it truly is very special, and it wouldn't be possible without all the amazing companies, people, families, or organisations that we work with and support us. So we're truly humbled by that. Absolutely.
Hugo Mitchell-Heggs, thank you so much for joining me. So, would you row the Atlantic? You inspired now to row the Atlantic, or do you prefer to watch it from the shore? Thank you so much, Hugo.
Thank you very much.
Where heart is sold on the ocean's flow, heave ho, onwards we row, forever off to new shores we go. Heave ho, onwards we row. We sail so long and so far from home. We brave the storms and the cold. From port to port on the waves we roam. We're venturesome and bold. We're heart is sold on the